Here at Schoolcraft College, we work with the 8 Dimensions of Wellness, which is a guide from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The 8 Dimensions of Wellness, I'm going to go into more detail later on in the presentation, but I wanted to give you kind of a bit of an overview of like how we go about doing this. In an effort to connect students' wellness with activities that are planned, we provide our students and organizations with opportunities to track these measurables. So the result is a concerted effort to match events with the 8 Dimensions of Wellness. And so we have been using this model since 2014 to track categories for the events and our students produce. There have been a bit of an overlap on some of the dimensions that the students will look at, but we're looking for them to really look at the one that is the most applicable for the program that they're producing. So the next slide we'll have these are the 8 Dimensions of Wellness. So and this is through the Health and Human Services Department, of course, and it's around mental health awareness, of course, in that area. So emotional, financial, social, spiritual, occupational, physical, intellectual, and environmental. So we look at all these different things as a whole before, during, and after the event with our students. So they're looking to really try to reflect on like how these all kind of play into an event that they would be producing. And at the end, is just really evaluate and see if they hit the mark and if they've been able to really, come through on those items, as well as, just getting student feedback and information. So we have them do an event report at the end of each of the things that I'll talk about shortly. So we host a student leadership retreat at the beginning of each of the school year, and we encourage our groups to look at the objectives of their events and how it really coincides with the mission of their clubs. ID some of the dimensions that they like to really hit, and at the end we ask them to do an event report, as I mentioned, that illustrates some of the qualitative and quantitative outcomes from the events. So next. This is the event report that we'll use. So this is at the end of the year, really, we're looking for all of this data so that we can see how really balanced we are, or maybe we aren't, as it were, around the 8 dimensions. So we've got obviously the 8 that we just mentioned, but then we're also looking for students to provide us with more of purpose of the event, some of the event outcomes, and whatnot. So it's really just a one-pager, relatively easy. We found over many years working with students, keep it as easy as possible, and they tend to be able to do it for you. So that's really what it comes down to. But these are just a couple examples of events that we do produce. So this here is our School Days Fall Festival, and we produce this event every year in the fall, and then we'll also do a smaller version of it in the winter semester. And this is meant to be a club fair, so that the students are, learning about different clubs and organizations that they may be wanting to be affiliated with, networking with other students and other professionals. We make it a lot of fun, as you can see, with the big top and that kind of theme. And we have, over here on one of the pictures is our Native American club. But we have up to about 35 clubs on campus on average when we're back. Through COVID, we were around 20. And this is just an example of some physical events that we have had. We've been doing dodgeball throughout since we were able to come back to campus. On Fridays, and you'll see here with the football, we do an annual Turkey Bowl program out in our dome, and that's just a lot of fun for the students. They really like to play the flag football out there. And then this is just outside volleyball, where it's just when we have the nice weather, people are out and about and they want to do that. So the students will evaluate how well they're able to draw people and what the feedback looks like. Okay, some of the spiritual events. This is the Navaratri. So we have an Asian student organization, And then Navaratri is really a harvest festival. And they come out, and we have quite a few community members as well as our students that'll come to this event. We'll have a band, we'll have it catered, and it's coming up again here on October 1st. So that's Navaratri. And then we also have, this is the African Drum and Dance group that we have come in for our multicultural fair. Normally they're on campus, but we went to their studio and we filmed it. But we have, worked with them for many, many years, and they're gracious enough to let us, videotape them as part of our virtual multicultural fair last year. Okay, other groups that we have partnered with the mental health area, as well as tracking student engagement. We have the Michigan Campus Compact, where we did some training with them around DEI in the fall of last year. Some of our students and staff were able to join Nicole Springer, who is the director up there. With that group, Lane County Health Department, as well as Michigan United. We do quite a bit of co-sponsoring with some of the events that they put on through our focus series, and that's also co-curricular because it's within the classroom and working with some of our instructors like Helen DeShoris and Deborah Burke. The Save Our Youth Coalition is a local organization in Livonia. Sure that there's others in around the state. It just really helps students understand the dangers of alcohol, addiction, as well as substance abuse. And they have different programming around that, as well as counseling. So we'll partner with them on occasion for that. And then our Schoolcraft curriculum development, we're working with them quite often to also track some of the different directives that they are putting together. So for instance, in the fall of 2021, they'll have us track, from our events and from the co-curricular events that we're part of, how to manage info and act responsibly. Back in last fall, it was communicate effectively and use technology. So there's different tracking where they're looking to see, what is the feedback. So in addition to our event report, we're getting some additional information to them as well, and that really goes in the reports for the Higher Learning Commission and that kind of thing. So I'll also include a PDF that provides a link to other programs from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. So you'll have that as well, hopefully in your packet. If you just click the link, the clickable link down there, and it has a number of different videos that you can watch, as well as just share out. But they've done a really nice job with that, and so we tend to use some of that in some of our programming as well as social media. Continuing steps. We planned a recent brainstorming session that brought together key staff and faculty and our students. So some of the outcomes from that, we worked through a lot of different things, including DEI, transportation, food insecurity. So we had staff, faculty, and students here really kind of talking about some of the problems that our students may be facing, and how we can overcome some of those things, and make appointments to get back to each other and create events that will help our student population along. We have a student leadership retreat in late August, that this year will be more of a check-in, and we'll do, more of a get-together later in the semester. We are also planning a student advisor training. So we have, on average, about 27, 28 advisors for our 35 clubs on campus. These are volunteer roles on the campus with those clubs. So we want to make sure that our advisors know really what we know, and so that they can advise more effectively. We will also cover expectations that we have before, during, and after event takes place. And in short, we're looking for our students to basically help us, collect this data so that we can make it even better for next year. So the advisors are a key player in that, as well as our office workers within our office. We have office aides, who we call student liaison to our clubs, and they'll also really lean on the clubs to get more of that data in soon after the event. So within 48 hours of that event taking place, they'll be there to try to collect those event reports. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you'll, if you have any questions, of course, feel free to either call or email me at the address right here. Have a great day, everybody.